Welcome to BA3, guys, the wonderful world of the fundamentals of financial accounting. And before we dive into any of the chapters, it's always good just to have a think about what the basic underlying principle of this module is going to be. So what we're doing is we're going to be focusing in on our financial accountants and what they do. And predominantly, we're going to be looking at what they will produce, because they need to put together a set of financial statements for entities. And you might have already seen these. If you, for instance, work for a company, they will have to generate these financial statements. Now, they have to be generated in a particular way as well. So what you're going to be looking at is the conceptual and regulatory framework, which is the foundation of everything that they generate, but also the foundation of the legislation and the accounting standards for which the financial statements are prepared. So financial accountants have to follow rules how to get to these financial statements, and we're going to be looking at that bit by bit. As well as that, one of the main things that you are going to need to do is to understand the accounting system itself. After you've learned how to generate some financial statements, and believe me guys, you don't need to generate a whole financial statement within your exam, you're then going to be able to go and use the information within this chapter to start understanding exactly what these accounts are going to be telling you. After we've taught you how to generate these financial statements and all the particulars, then what you will also be able to do using the information within the notes is to perform some basic ratio calculations, which are then going to get you to understand why they're so important and what it tells you about a business. And that's the whole idea. How do we know how a business is doing? Not just from a profit perspective, but from all kinds of perspectives as well. Now, in the first few chapters, you are going to learn how to generate a set of financial statements, i.e. what they're going to look like. But believe me, guys, you are not going to need to prepare a set of financial statements within your exam. All you are going to need to do is to understand how they are put together and also how they are presented, because questions could look at the format rather than just the calculations. One thing we mentioned right at the beginning of the welcome was the accounting standards. And what we'll see as we move through the detail of this particular module is you're going to learn some detailed concepts in respect of some of these standards. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not going to see all of the standards. We're going to look at particular ones which are general and quite regularly seen within the world of accounting. And there are some more, not just on specifics in terms of how we treat this and how we treat that, but then there'll also be some that we'll see which just detail exactly how we're going to present them as well. So just to give you an idea of the weighting of the information, we've got the majority of the exam which is going to be focused on recording accounting transactions, which is why, guys, when we talk to you about needing to know how to debit and credit, as you'll see later, we do stress the importance of that quite a lot, because as you can see, it will make up 50%. The next biggest area is going to be our preparation of our single entities. Okay, so how do we develop the accounts? How do we bring the information together? And then we've got 10% either side, which is going to be relating to accounting principle concepts and regulations, which is going to be the underlying framework, and it's going to be the accounting standards themselves, including the presentation standards, as well as 10% on the analysis of the financial statements, which will be in respect of your ratios.